Well, hello, you guys. It's another disappointing Monday. It's like we're coming out of. It's like we're coming out of Black Friday, 1929. Now we're going into the 2008 recession. The Trojans have suffered another defeat. It's the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast. We have the full cast here. We have.
Hey, we're gonna turn it up, though. We're gonna get it happy. We're gonna turn it up. We'll get
happy. I got my Take It Easy shirt on today. Take it easy. We're gonna take it easy. Let's start with the math scientist. Jamil, how you doing today?
Doing well, Fred. Great to see you as always. We enjoyed a conversation yesterday. I look forward to today.
Hey, here's an inside joke. We had a conversation where we disagreed, and we're still a part of the network.
Ooh.
Ryan didn't find it. No.
You two disagreed.
Yeah, we had a little disagreement. It wasn't heated, but like he was like, "Hold on, wait, Fred, let me get this out." And like, you know what I mean? Like you guys were powdering.
You two.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're still both. I'm
disagreeing.
still. It wasn't more of a disagreement, but he kind of lashed out at me a little bit. But I'm still here. I didn't quit.
No, Fred, you know never lashing out at you. Never. You know,
well,
can you say such things? We're at a minute 20 into the show. You're already hurting my feelings. My God, how can that be?
You're still the smartest man on earth.
Well, you played for Coach O, right? You played for Coach O, right?
Coach O was already at Ole Miss.
He was okay. I was going to say that you should be used to getting taken whatever if you played for Coach O, but never mind.
Yep. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Excellent. Life goes on. The sad state of affairs with USC football, but hey, we get to talk football and we're going to make it fun. So happy to be here.
And we have the queen of LAFB. She was at church yesterday, you guys. So we have 6,000 views. If you would have been on there, I think we would have hit 10 easy. So I want you to tell. We're just going to jump right into it. How are you doing today? And right after that, give us your opinion of Saturday. So let us know how you're doing, and then get right into Saturday.
I'll be honest. I'm a bit exhausted. I stretch myself pretty thin on Mondays, and then obviously it's a full day of football practice. But I'm excited because it's championship week, so we're entering districts, and we are the number 1 seed, and we have home field advantage, and we're like 35-0, so that's exciting. You talking about USC on Saturday? Is that what we're?
Yes, ma'am.
It's kind of painful. It's a bit painful to relive because I have young teenage football players texting me, "Coach, you watching the game? Coach, you see the play? Coach, you see this?" And I'm like silencing that. I can't say that I'm surprised. I'm definitely disappointed because I'm not a fair weather fan when it comes to USC. And I don't like, I'm never the one to say, like, I told you so, but I'm feeling very, I told you so-ish in that realm. And I am feeling it. I'm feeling hard for the athletes because I know how hard they work and I know how they're trusting their coaches. And right now, yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging to say the least.
I got you. So
good way to ease in.
Yeah.
I'm kind of suppressing myself right now.
Here's an interesting step for you guys. Clay Helton in his first 2 years was 15-5. Lincoln Riley in his first 2 years is now 15-5. It seems like we hit a lull with this USC program. So my question is, where do we go from here? Right? How do we fix it? I have 2 solutions. I have a solution for right now, and I have a solution for the end of the season. So my solution for right now is you just got to turn up the volume. And the problem was, and I'm going to agree, and I'm going to say I was wrong, and I'm going to recant my statement. And Jamal called me out on it. We were too excited about easy wins, right? And I jumped on the train, and I was ready to go, and I knew I was hoorah. But now reality has stepped in. And I think the problem is, here's the problem. I think that when they were winning, they were still getting pat on the back. They have to reverse that. And an old coach told me this. He said, even when you win, that's when you have to coach harder. Because learning how to win, it's harder than losing, right? And I don't think, and this is just my opinion, I could be wrong, but I don't think the coaching turned up as they were winning. You know what I mean? I think it's, oh, yeah, we're here. We're undefeated. We're here. We're undefeated. I mean, I could just go off the Lincoln Riley statement saying that he's undefeated in the best conference in the nation and this and that, like it was a good thing, but you were not playing as a undefeated team. So my solution is you got to turn up the heat. You got to get on them. You got to go. Like if you're saying that you only lost one game and you're still at the top of the conference, you got to go. You got to start turning up the fire. You got to get on these guys. Mistakes aren't acceptable. Believe it or not, you got to get on Caleb a little bit. Like I feel like it's too much. Oh, it's okay. We'll get it next time. Like Russell Wilson talk, and you got to get on Caleb a little bit. I think that will change the play. I will say this. Like I said this yesterday, the defense played with excellent effort. I love their effort. They played with a chip on their shoulder. Now you got to get all 100 players on that roster with that chip on their shoulder, especially the 85 scholarship players. They need to carry a chip on their shoulder. And I said this before, people are not scared of the Interlock SC anymore. You can't just show up and expect to win. It's not like that anymore. You have to build that reputation. So I think you have to get that fire under them and you have to go. You have to coach hard. Like no more laid back, easy going. You have to coach hard if you want to get through these next 4 games. Because guess what? After Cal, these next 4 games are not easy. You're going through a playoff if you luckily get into a playoff before you get to the playoff, right? Let's just say they won on Saturday. The games after Cal, the 3 games after Cal, you're playing a playoff before they would have got into the playoff, bearing they would have won or anything. You get what I'm saying? So, like, it's not going to be easy for the month of November, right? So that's my solution for right now. My end of the season solution, and just hear me out. And Jamal, you can help me with this one. This will be a good one you can help me with. Have a big guy buy Lincoln Riley out. And I mentioned this to you. Just buy him out. Go ahead and buy him out. Pay me $32 million over the next 8 years. No buyout clause. And give me time to fix it.
Did you raise it since you texted us? Did you just raise your... I thought you said 28 in the text. Did you raise it $4 million? Good for you.
Yeah.
I said 28.
Premium tax right there, right? That's how we roll.
If I said 28, I was wrong. It's $4 million. It's $4 million over 8 years. So 32. Pay me $32 million over the next 8 years. No buyout clause. If you get to a point where you don't like it, we'll walk away. We'll separate. I'll build a resume. I could probably get somewhere else. I will still be on the Salute Detroit podcast every Monday. We'll do a coach's recap show. Nothing will change. Right?
Right. You heard it.
But
Al,
here's the benefit. Here's the benefit of it. I have a well-known name in Southern California. I know all the top recruiters. I know Jordan Campbell at Winter Circle. I know Malik at Premier. I know all these trainers. I know Frampton. I could get the Southern California kids back to USC. Here's the thing I looked at. There's not any kids from the Bay either. I remember when I played there was a good number of kids from the Bay. Like, we're not even recruiting Northern California anymore. Like, I'll go into Northern California and I'll get Northern California kids. I will recruit the state of California and make California the state of USC. I will make it a SoCal prominent recruiting ground, and then we'll go from there and we'll build and we'll get better. That's my right now solution. Now, my right now solution is turn up the heat. My end of the year solution is just hire me. I'll get it right. I already got a staff in mind I could put together. I'll put people around me that have experience in Division I coaching. I'll put smart minds around me. I'll listen to everybody. I'll hire Ryan and Jamal and Candace. If you want to come too, come on. But Jamal, you'll be an analyst. Ryan, you'll be an analyst. I get you guys good money. But I guarantee you this.
Well, I could be the Tal hype guy unless you're not going to do that anymore.
There you go.
Those positions.
Those guys are bad.
Fred's already talking like a private equity guy. I'll get $32 million. I'll give you guys $200,000 each, and we'll call it even. You know?
Let's go win some football games.
Let's go win some
football games. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you this. We'll be tough. We'll practice. We'll have spring practice and conditioning. It'll be at 5:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, we will be a tough team. Nobody will say we're soft. Like, we will build a tough team, and the product we put on the field will be very impressive. So, Jamal, if you know any big heads, and just get together, get the buyout ready. All I need is this over the next 4. All I need is the 32 over the next 4 years. No buyout clause, and we're ready to go. That's my solution in order to get this right. I'll go to you, Jamal. Where do we go from here? How do we fix this?
Wow,
Wait,
Fred,
wait,
how am I?
before you-
Please go for it.
Go, Candace.
Before
Go
you
ahead.
jump into like football details, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it will. We're getting what we, and I don't want to use the word deserves, but you're saying everything. You're a SoCal guy. You know the importance of recruiting throughout the Bay, through Southern California, maintaining Southern California talent as we're entering a conference. We have an athletic director who is not SC. We have coaches that are not USC. So why could we expect for them to uphold what's so important with the interlocking SC? My husband says it all the time, pretty much got keys to a Ferrari and can't drive a stick shift. Bottom line. So before you jump into X's and O's and what can be changed, Lincoln Riley was what he was. Bottom line. It was facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
and our new Sooner
Jen
fans will agree.
Jen is what she is, and it's seeking its own level. So it wasn't even about being snooty. It wasn't even about being elitist. It wasn't about being privileged. It was like I had to work hard to. I hear you, Zena. I know she's mad too. I had to work hard to get to USC. And then I felt even embarrassed. I asked my husband at the dinner table, I'm like, did Lincoln Riley win a national championship and I missed it? Did Lincoln Riley do something spectacular and I missed it? Caleb, did you do something and I missed it? Or were we just so excited to give somebody $100 million to come in and be all these great things that it wasn't? So before you jump into your real football X's and O's, the culture of USC from the get, this was a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, which is very appropriate analogy for Southern California. Okay.
So yesterday.
Sorry, wrong. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Yesterday I got real big into culture, and I said it's a culture issue. There's a really big culture issue at SC right now, and that's one of the things I'll go in there and change immediately. Like, it is a privilege to be a part of USC athletics in general. Not just the football team, just at USC athletics in general. Like, it's a privilege, and I don't think the players now understand that privilege. So there's a culture issue that definitely needs to get fixed.
The players, though, the entire personnel. I mean, I'm looking at the rankings and to see USC 24, Washington 5, Oregon 8, UCLA 23. That's acceptable. That's acceptable. That's okay, right? And we're going to keep on saying, oh, well, and let your boy Lincoln Riley wearing a visor on the sunlight like he's a 70-year-old golfer. Like, let's be real. The team is taking on the swag of their coach, and this is what we're getting, right? So, sorry, Jamal. I was trying to be like together way early on, but it was, I'm not surprised. And we keep on saying, oh, this isn't Pete Carroll's USC. I wish and only could dream that it could be a fraction of that. And I guess I was spoiled to have only seen that, but like, come on now. So
I'll even take John McKay's USC. At this point, I'll take John McKay's USC.
I would take Steve Sarkisian drunk USC over Lincoln Riley riser. Okay, I can't. All right, I'm just saying. And like you said it, like anyone that you would have brought from a USC coaching tree would know the importance of everything you're talking about. We're talking about that halfway through. It is like disgusting to see number 24. Like we're one of those teams that's, we broke through the top 25. We're one of those teams now. We might as well offer public tuition prices. Sorry, Jamal. No offense to anybody that goes to public school. Long Beach, it was great. I'm just saying. But okay, I'm done now, bro. Go ahead.
So, Jamal, where do we go?
Yeah, well, this is a tough act to follow with both of you. My goodness, this is the in and out double right here. Now you're throwing it to me. My goodness. But Fred, I mean, kudos to you. I mean, I salute to Troy is a lot of things. I didn't realize it was LinkedIn on top of that as well. I mean, that was very well done. Excellent. We weren't expecting that, but I totally agree with you in terms of your qualifications for sure. I'm going to kind of segue it more to the tactics on the field of what can be done. And I think there's three things that I would really look for moving forward here. The first is, I think, emphasizing the run game more. We have to be able to see a situation where Marshawn Lloyd gets 15 carries. That has to kind of be a barometer. And Fred, you've said it for a number of weeks. I think you've just got to play the numbers game more than down and distance game. Play the numbers game. Even if it's 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, if you're feeling like you got a light box, run the ball with Lloyd and see where it gets you. So play the numbers versus play down and distance. I think second, offensively, USC needs to kind of get back to the basics and really focus on Caleb Williams getting the ball out of his hands quickly. I think it's got to be a 3 seconds or less type of situation. And you kind of got to go back to the basics with Caleb and say, look, go through, 3-4 reads. If it's not there, boom, check down. If it's not there, just take off and run. I think this element of kind of dancing around, holding the ball too long, I think it's disrupting the rhythm of the offense as well. Because when you're dancing around and you have a play that takes 14 seconds, 16 seconds, 18 seconds, and then even when you sort of complete the pass, everybody's so out of position that it's hard to get back in the huddle, and it's actually hard to run tempo. And so, being able to kind of stay on schedule and go quickly with Caleb would be number 2. And then for me, number 3, I think, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit on the defensive side, outside of scheme and culture and macro issues, I would really tighten up the linebacker rotation. I would really focus exclusively on playing 4 linebackers, not at once, but the rotation of 4 that you revolve around being Jamil Muhammad, Romello Height, Eric Gentry, and Mason Cobb. I think everybody else, Rayshawn Davis, Tack Curtis, everybody else, I think needs to take a back seat here, and you've got to really tighten up that rotation. I think let's see where it shakes out over the next 4 weeks, given those 3 tactical issues, and then the conversation around Alex Grinch at the end of the year can be had, but I think there's a road to that, and those would be the 3 things I'd focus on moving forward.
We're getting rid of Alex Grinch on my staff, so you don't have to worry about that one, Jamal. Ryan, where do we go from here?
And the only thing I'll really add, and I was thinking about this a lot yesterday too, and I don't want this to come out as making any excuses for the coaching staff because I'm not, but the thing that I want to see is the leadership among the players and kind of how they stand out. We know Caleb, obviously, as the quarterback, is the team leader, but I mean, who really is the leader of the defense? Is it Mason Cobb? Is it Barry Alexander? Is it Kalen Bullock? And I was reminded yesterday after we did the live, and I don't like comparing leadership quality because everyone leads differently, but I was reminded of that, I can't remember if it was 08 or 09, that Florida team when they lost, and Tim Tebow goes to the podium in tears and is like, no one else will ever play as hard as me. This team will not be pushed as hard as anyone else as me, yada, yada, yada. And this was an opportunity on Saturday for one of these players to have that moment, that seminal moment of like, I'm taking ownership. And yes, coaching aside, but as a player, as the leader of this locker room, I'm the one that's putting it on my back to do this. And so the fact that there was no player availability, or whether that was Lincoln's decision, whether that was the school's decision, whether it was the players saying, I don't want to talk to anyone, whatever it was, I'm not going to speculate, but it was a missed opportunity. And so now I really want to see in these last 4 games, the players step up as leaders and say, you know what, we're not finishing 7-5. We're not finishing 8-4. We're finishing this thing the way that we think, whether it's right, wrong, and different, whether we're getting coached right or not. We have talent here. We have pride here. We have that SC on our chest and that Trojan on our helmet. Let's go out and get it every Saturday. So aside from everything, because I agree absolutely with everything Jamal said, but for me, I just want to see what team leaders step up and really take ownership of this team.
Yeah, so that's funny that you said that because a couple of Sundays ago when we did the live, Jamal walked up. He was like, was it after Notre Dame? It was after Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
Jamal was like, this was perfect for Caleb to come up and do the Tim Tebow, and they literally have it in a statue, right? So
I was late to that. I must have missed that. My camera wasn't working.
Or it might have been after you got kicked out the hotel, one or the other. But no, I mean, that is a good point. It's just like, and Candace emphasizes this all the time. Players are a reflection of their coach. And I think we got to a point where we're like, all right, Lincoln will fix it. But then it comes to a time like now, when will Lincoln fix it, right? And if you ask our new Sooner fans that we have, we gained a bunch of Sooner fans out of nowhere that say Lincoln's never going to fix it, but they're still mad that he left, right? But at the end of the day, it's like we have to figure out how do we get better, right? And like you said, Ryan, like here's a good quote for you. Average teams, the coaches police them. Good teams, the leaders police them. Championship teams, the standard's already set, right? They understand the standard. You shouldn't have to tell anybody what you have to do by the time you get into the season. Those freshmen are there early summer, right? You have a whole summer, a whole camp to set the standard. And the standards has not been set, in my opinion. So the standard needs to be set. And once they set the standard, you now take the next step culturally to become a better team, right? So that's in my opinion how you make it work. But I think we get on too much of not me, not us, but I think we accepted for too long Lincoln Riley coming to press conferences and saying, "Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's okay." And ideally, it never was okay. We were addicts covering up our addiction, but now our addiction is out. And where do we go from here? Do we go get our fix, or do we go to rehab and become better people? And that we're at rock bottom, right? According to our standard, the four of us, our standard, we're at rock bottom. How do we get up off of our back pockets and get back on our feet and keep moving forward? That's the question we have to figure out. Only one person could fix that, and now it's on Lincoln Riley. Are we calling for his head? No, we're not calling for his head unless they plan on hiring me. Then we could call for his head. But I don't think we're calling for his head right now, but there are some changes that need to be fixed. Before you guys respond to that, the Rangers have just punched their ticket to the World Series. It's October, the greatest sports month in sports. You got pro football, college football. The World Series is coming up. NBA tip-off is this week. And you got NHL. How do you get in all that best action? Go to betonline.ag. They have all up-to-date lines, stats, minute, odds, wagers, whatever you need to get cash in your pocket. Go to betonline.ag, put in promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, and you will receive a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. Ryan, you have a rebuttal to what I said? Or you weren't?
No, I mean, I agree with it. So, yeah, no rebuttal. I mean, that's where the state of this program is. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying we're very low today. Like we're not. I'm sweating over here. These lights are hot. It's just.
Well, Al, do you think? I mean, honestly, like I don't want to sound broken. I want to sound more than just what I keep saying. But like outside of Bear, who were national championship contenders that transferred to USC? Like
nobody.
So the mindset, and I keep saying it, this isn't some raw, true USC guys. These are guys that were excited to be part of something great. Oh, I get a chance to get to USC. These guys are built off of different programs, different coaching mentalities, even a season within college. You're taking on your other coach, and we're expecting what from them? And I'm saying what I'm saying. I knew this from the jump. I could recognize it from get. So now we're like all of a sudden got expectations and standards. I'm utterly confused. Lincoln Riley, like moving forward, capable, he's maxed out. There is no mid game. There is no top secret. There is no red or green pill. This is the matrix. This is what he is. The fact that his homeboy is still there.
Well, I will say
it's a problem. And the fact
I will say this. It's at this point, it does no good to the program to get rid of him. Because let me ask you this. All right, you get rid of Grinch, right? Who becomes the defensive coordinator?
What?
You get rid of Grinch right now, right? You walk into his office. You, Candace Davis-Price. You fire Alex Grinch right now. Who becomes the defensive coordinator?
Brian Price.
It doesn't.
I'm putting all my money in, all my bones in, because I know you from the streets. So you out there like I gotta eat. I'm right. Concerned, and you're like.
But you're talking about.
I think Lincoln Riley could have been. Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying, but you're talking about bringing somebody in now in the middle
of the season. I'm talking about, bro, you're making, and they used to criticize my husband, bro, you're making lots of millions of zeros. I need you to figure it out. It's not LA Football's network about to give you any more white bird secrets. You've been giving all the sauce away for them to pick up, and they still haven't picked it up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Utilize your resources. On top of, I'm not saying that Riley might not have been an integral piece, but he's not the star of a show. There's nothing about him that says X factor from the beginning. But if you have people like Jen and other people, granted she didn't hire him, this is their norm. This is their spectacular because they come from basic and average. We all talked about what Norman, Oklahoma looks like. Yeah, I'm coming for your boy, but that's not nothing new. That's not nothing new. So do I think going forward, what do you change? This was their max. This is what it is. You're talking about level up. They can't level up. This is what it is. Zachariah Branch and your boy Marshawn, I mean, they're out there doing their thing, but that's their talent level. When you're missing 19 tackles, Snoop Dogg's Pee Wee League is not missing 19 tackles. So this is what it is. There is no, oh, we're about to turn it around and we're going to be great. You bring in the number 5 team to the Coliseum. We lost in the Coliseum, and you saw that is your 6th man. So what? Where else you going to live? What? There's a Mary Poppins back. We're going to start bringing things out. It's about to be extra, what is it, supercalifragilistic. Not happening. Sorry, Jamal. I guess I'm just like, I'm like, what do we expect? This is what we got. This is literally what we got.
Now get it all out. We got it all out yesterday. Today's your day to get it all out.
He is what he is, and he could have been an integral part of making it. And that's the other problem. At least when you have USC trees or people that come from the culture, or people understand, or people come from Southern California, there's a level of partnership that they can have in the community. There is a guy on every coaching staff that was on USC that can go to 43rd and Crenshaw and go and get talent. We don't have that. You know why? Because you got a guy talking about, leaving Oklahoma was sorry for me. Was it? Because there's people that live in South Central Los Angeles, real hard for them just to get to the bus stop. So you're not relatable. You don't connect to USC. You're not that guy, and you weren't from the beginning. And now the reality is that you're exposed. So $100 million, you got to figure something out. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling about your boy. And I'm when I'm looking up, what happened?
Can I ask you something quick, Candace?
Sorry, yeah.
No, go ahead. It's your show today. You need to get it out. We got all ours out yesterday. That was the plan. Get it out. No, yeah.
It's been sort of an incremental ramp too. You know, she's like, listen, I'm not going to do it. And then it was slow. And then now, she's revving the engines, and now it's Fred, with you and me, it was like pop, 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 pop. Yesterday we just came out swinging. Candace is kind of, sort of feeling the vibe. And then now it's coming out. I love it.
So if I don't drink. So please drink more of that bottoms up for me, because it probably would.
Please, Ryan had a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Ask your question, Ryan.
No, and this is, I'm just so curious. We haven't known you super long, so I didn't know you. So I'm just curious, like after Pete with the hirings, and we're getting like way off topic here, but it's okay. It's still USC. Like, were you okay with with Kiffin, with Sark, with Clay Helton? Because I mean, those were SC guys. Was that okay?
Yes. And I felt like there was way less patience with them than there was with what's going on right now. Granted, there were some more personality issues and some personnel things. And I felt like they got those jobs because of their USC connections. But I do feel like there should have been a little bit more grooming of them through the process, that these are USC guys. We're willing to tough it in. They're going to be able to bring something that we can't teach. What Lane Kiffin and Stark can bring to this program, we can't teach. Right? So you could say what other coaches, their X's and O's and their credentials, but what Kiffin and what Sarkisian were a part of at USC, we're now seeing is something that might not ever exist again. So yeah, we're not going to hire Stark because he's an alcoholic, but yeah, he's over at Texas making stuff happen. So there's got to be a fine line where it's like, Lincoln Riley's safe and he wears a visor and he like fits our USC looking part. Yeah, that visor really bothers me. I'm like, what? Like, there's no guy that's tough that's wearing visors. I need tough.
Hold on, let me correct you about the visor. Yeah, Kiffin wore a visor. Kiffin's a big visor guy.
Big visor guy.
Kiff and Sark failed miserably, and they're now having success on their 3rd and 4th jobs.
Hold on. I will say this: Kiff, and I'm willing to defend here. Kiff took the job once SC got put on probation.
Yes,
and the reality was that Kiff was just there to take off water and to make his coaching resume better. The problem was they were very competitive and winning 10 games with only 15 scholarships. And then when they got off probation that very next year, and they just got 85 scholarships, and they tried to recruit people, and people didn't want to go to SC because they weren't being recruited before, and they're very limited. Then Kiffin wasn't winning when he was at full max scholarships, and they never gave him any time to build that program back. And they left him in Arizona, right? Sark is the biggest misconception in the history of USC football. and I firmly believe this, if Sark was still the head coach at SC would at least had one national championship, and they would at least been in the college football playoff, because everybody forgets, before Sark got fired, Sark was right at the corner about to turn it and get SC back on the right path, because you got to remember, the team that Orgeron took over was 10-2 and won the Rose Bowl. Like, so there was a lot of things. He had a bad showing in Washington, and it happens. He lost another game, and it happens. He was at that time, I think he was like 4-2 or something like that. People don't understand. He had the national championship on his shoulders. He was going through divorce. He was the head football coach. Certain people go to certain vices, and his vice was wrong, and they fired him. I don't think they should have fired him. I think that they should have got him help and brought him back, because he had something going there. Because when you look at the team that Orgeron took over, they were a Rose Bowl championship team. Sark then gets another opportunity in Texas. He didn't go and get another head coaching job. He went to coaching rehab with Nick Saban. He was with the Falcons for a little bit as an analyst. And then he came and finally got a head coaching job at Texas. Last year wasn't up to Texas expectations, but the product Sark was putting on the field was better than what all the coaches in the past have put on the field. Now, all of a sudden, people are talking about, well, shoot, if Sark beats Oklahoma, Texas beat Alabama, doesn't Texas get a chance to get into the college football playoff? We're not having that talk at SC. I think they pulled the trigger too fast on Sark, and they should have took proper protocol and proper steps to make sure he stayed there, because I think right now we should be talking about, we lost Sark to the NFL, or when are we going to lose Sark to the NFL? I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but a lot of people forget how much Sark accomplished while he was at SC. Even at Washington, he just couldn't get over the hill. He had a very competitive team at Washington. He just couldn't get over the hill. Like, I'm team Sark too, but Sark is a very good head coach, and coaching rehab just made him way better. I don't know
Fred,
if you guys agree with
can
that
I
or
jump
not.
in here a little bit just to sort of level set?
Yeah.
You know, and Candace, I completely agree with you. So Kiffin got 3.5 years, right? Pete's last year was 2009. Kiffin got 10, 11, 12, and then Tarmac was 13. So he got 3.5 years. He went 28-13 with all of the sanctions. And I think it's fair to say that he had a very short leash with especially the AD change from Mike Garrett to Pat Hayden. Pat Hayden just didn't culturally align with Kiffin the way Kiffin aligned with Mike Garrett, and that's why he got a very short leash. So now there was interim in 13, then Sark comes along 14, 15, and then Sark gets fired midway through 16. So Sark only got 2.5 years. Now, where, Fred, I disagree with you is he didn't really accomplish anything at USC. 14, 15, the first half of 16, nothing was accomplished. He was known as 7-win Sark at Washington because he won 7 games every year at Washington. Washington was never competitive. And then if you recall, in 16 is when Orgeron took over for Sark, won the final 5 games of the season. But he did lose to Notre Dame and he did lose to UCLA. And ultimately that was enough ammo for Hayden to say, we're not bringing you back because, yeah, you won 5 games, but you didn't beat either of the rivals. And then that opened the door for Clay Helton, and it's Clay Helton who won the Rose Bowl. So what's ironic about this
I apologize about that. Then.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know, Helton has kind of been the butt of all jokes the last couple of years, but ironically enough, in the last 15 years, USC has won 1 Rose Bowl. That 1 Rose Bowl is by Clay Helton. It's not by Lane Kiffin. It's not by Sark. It's not by Lincoln Riley. It's not by Coach O. So it's sort of ironic there. But I think, Candace, to your point, Kiffin only got 3.5 years. Sark only got 2.5 years. And now we're sort of at the end of year 2 or close to.
Did they have transfer portal?
Not to the extent that they do now. Yeah,
with Sark, but with Sark, I will tell you this: with Sark, they had the one-time transfer rule. So the one-time transfer rule was a thing then. So you had an opportunity to transfer one time and not have to sit out for the year, as they did with Kiffin. But you also got to remember, Kiffin only had 15 scholarships for what you said, 3.5 years, Jamal. So three of those years,
10, 11, and 12. The 3 straight years of scholarship reduction.
Riley's handed out 22 scholarships in the last
85.
year.
No, he's definitely had a lot more opportunity, and so there's kind of this SC element to it where other coaches had a very short timeline with much greater restrictions, with the rules not being as favorable. Then I want to kind of just repeat something that we talked about a few days ago, where you go back from the start of 2000, 14 coaches across the country. This is not just USC. 14 coaches have won 23 national championships since the start of 2000. 11 of those 14 coaches won a national championship within their fourth season. The only 3 exceptions were Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney, and Mac Brown. And Kirby Smart went to the national championship game year 2 and lost on that Tua throw in overtime in year 2. And when you look at Mac Brown and Dabo Swinney, every time they had a Heisman Trophy winning or finalist quarterback, they went or won the national championship. When Dabo had Deshaun and when Dabo had Trevor Lawrence, he won the Natty. When Mac Brown had Vince and when Mac Brown had Colt McCoy, he either won the championship or went to the championship. So when you put that whole body of work together and you look at what's going on here, this idea that Lincoln Riley is ahead of schedule, I think is completely incorrect. And I think I would personally give Lincoln Riley 2 more years, give him the 4 years that all the other coaches have gotten. But if he doesn't win it in 4 years, that's now 2 stops where he did not win the national championship within 4 years. OU, he was there 5, he didn't win. And then SC being there 4. And if he doesn't win, I think you then have to start rethinking whether or not Lincoln Riley is an elite coach or just a very, very good coordinator.
And never was his thank you for refining and backing my emotion with facts, Jamal. That's why we're birthday twins. Salute to you. Okay. But I never was convinced, and I'm not saying that anyone is not. I'm saying as an elite eye, part of my skill of being a coach, part of my skill of being a talent, as I can recognize greatness. That's always been something I can do, and I can shape 2 left feet into something. When I saw him, I was not convinced. USC to me was always a leap pad for him in his next step. There was never anything about his body language, about his commitment, even his demeanor that says, I want to be like how we talk about destination. He's already talking about retirement to us. And your boy Pete is up there knocking on AARPA door, making things happen.
He's there. He's there.
He's there in his Nike Monarchs. You understand what I'm saying? You got Saban over here ready to have a heart attack doing Aflac commercials with your boy Dion. And Lincoln doesn't encompass that. Is he an integral part of something great? Absolutely. Do I think he's talented? Sure. But even when I see his players on the sideline, when I see it was 1:43 left and Caleb's kicking it on the thing, and I'm like, there's 2 minutes on the clock. That's a whole nother quarter. I don't see any sense of urgency from the team. I don't see any sense of nothing from the coaches. I don't see it. I see Utah out there running it like it was a 2-minute drill. We know exactly what we're doing. And I'm sitting there like, I'm not an X's and O's. I'm not a defensive scheme. I don't know stats and last names like my boy Ryan. But I do know that I can recognize a sideline, I can recognize energy, and I can recognize urgency. And I have not seen that. Coach keeps saying, we need to see a complete game. Absolutely. Game time is performance. But I can recognize that there are missing pieces just with the level of urgency. When y'all saying tempo, that sideline, when Caleb was sitting on the sideline, there was like 1:40 left, kicking it. I would have been knee down, helmet on the thing to my coach's side, trying to move. Wasn't none of that. And you're right, that penalty saved him. So anywho, this is a level of Lincoln Riley. There was never any commitment for him to rock out at SC and to be that guy. This was his opportunity to come, drive the Lamborghini, be like I did LA, and now I can take on a big NFL market. That was always his case. There was never anything about me or other people they can say it that, we're bought into Lincoln Riley. No, we were in such a rush to fix this gunshot room that he was a safe hire for us. Sorry.
The tagline for the show, Ryan, is Candace gets to vent.
Sorry.
No, you're corner. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just want to let you guys know, if you haven't noticed, me and Ryan, hold on. Let's see. Me and Ryan got our fight on Pelels today. Go to your local market.
Bottom that up, please.
And go to your local market and get you a fight on Pelel.
See, Candace, another thing you and I have in common, outside of being birthday twins, neither of us drink. So, it's the two gentlemen at the top that are going to have to be doing the drinking for us.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, drink them. And I don't want to sound, again, I'm not going to attack athletes because I know what it's like to have great college coaches, but I can speak to another program at USC that's got somebody that's not going to get it done. And this person, they filled this role, and I'm like, it's only a matter of time before it's exposed. So there's something going on that it's like, what are we USC? We're charity. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like there is something about people being on the outside of those gates looking in. When I was at USC, if you were not a USC alumni, it didn't matter if you were an Olympian, a gold medalist, or world champion, you could not train at USC's track. Now you got Bruins, you got Huskies, you got Roll Tide, you got all types of people training on our track. And that was never an acceptable thing. You sat outside those gates. If you wanted to train with our coaches, they had to go over to Drake Stadium to be trained. So maybe it's something in the water, the lack of water, the water from whatever. I don't know. I know water is a tough thing in LA.
I thought
Not
Pete
anymore.
invited everyone in.
Huh?
No.
I thought Pete invited everyone in.
No, she's talking about.
No, I know. I'm kidding. I mean, celebrities and stuff like that.
Celebrities and everybody.
Candace bashing UCLA for no reason over here. Drake Stadium.
that was a nice little jab, right?
They had to go to Drake Stadium. They had to go to Drake Stadium to train. I'm just saying, Drake Stadium it's a lovely facility.
Thank God Long Beach State have football, so we can keep that out.
And I ran that. No, I mean, I'll leave it at. There is a level of the level up, and Jamal, you keep on spewing these facts, and Ryan, all of you, and Ro, you played. So there's a huge disconnect. There is a huge gap, and it can't be filled with this void because it's not existent. The X factor of what we need does not exist in our current system. And do I say fire your boy Grinch? You got what you got. At least get the fans on your side and be like, you know what? I would rather lose with him making decisions to move forward than keep on patty caking with whatever he's got in that office. Oh, it's okay. And I would like for him to address, like, look, what we got going in the coach's office is our business, but I want you to know these are tough conversations that we're having. We're talking about these things. The fans deserve to have it. Okay, I'm really done. Ish.
Well, I think. Do you have anything else, Candace? I mean, we talked about where we're gonna move on from here. We knew you were gonna take majority of the time because you didn't get it all out yesterday, and it's just built up for 24 hours. Like so, just you sure? You good?
My husband always reminds me I didn't play football at USC. He always reminds me of that, and I get it. So I don't, But I'm disappointed because there was something about when I'm in Ann Arbor wearing USC and people got jokes. Well,
I think here's the difference. Here's the difference, and let me help you out, Candace, and Jamal, you can relate to this too. So USC is surprisingly small compared to all the other universities that we play against and everything. So you may not if you go to another school, you may not interact with a track athlete. You may not interact with the volleyball players. You may not interact with the crew team or the tennis team or the golf team, right? At SC, every athlete interacts with everyone. You know what I mean? Like, it's not very big. USC is legit 4 corners. It's 4 corners, right? There's no big campus. You don't need a shuttle to run around to a different class. You can walk to every single class. It's 4 corners. So when we were in Galen and we were all eating, it's every single sport they're eating. So you knew every volleyball player. You knew every tennis player. You knew who was on the crew team. You knew who played water polo. You knew who was a swimmer. Like, you knew a golfer, right? We didn't have our own facility just for football, like some universities have. Like, so when you see when there's a track meet, all the football teams going to track me because, like, oh, I know that person. Like, that we associated somehow. I'm gonna go support the track team. I'm gonna go see the basketball games. I'm gonna go do everything because we have a close, tight knit connection within athletics, right? Compared to other schools. So, like, when people say, "Well, Candace, you never play football," well, at the end of the day, people don't know. When Memorial Day weekend, we're at Sten's house in Santa Barbara, hanging out on the private beach, surfing, learning how to surf, right? And Sten ran track, Candace ran track, but there was a bunch of football players there. There were basketball players there. That was a great weekend, right? Like, You walk through SAS. Everybody knows at that time when you go pick up your stipend at the end of the month, you go pick it up from Monica. You grab the red vines on your way out. It's a known fact. You know what I mean? Like Monica always had the red vines. Like so, it's such a tight knit community, and I don't know anymore because I'm not a part of it. But it's such a tight knit community amongst athletics at SC because, like I said, the school's only 4 corners. You either live in the same dorm, you're in SAS at the same time. You're eating at the same time. You're doing a bunch of stuff. You're in the same party at the same time. All the athletics are together at the same time. Like, so you're not playing football is a lot different because we went to a small school for a Division I school. But you built relationships. You sat in classes. Like, you walk in class like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, because you've already seen that person multiple times. So, like, there's an emotional attachment in a way because you built a relationship with the football team. You built a relationship with the basketball team, with the crew team, and things like that.
Absolutely.
So
that's a good point.
So I think that's where a lot of people don't understand. And then it gives us an opportunity to meet regular students because we're so small. Like there
like
were,
me.
yeah, like no, and that, like Reggie, like when you think about it, Reggie and Dwayne.
I tried to sort of, I'm Indian, so I tried to say, hey, I was on the tennis team, the ping pong team, but, that only gets you so far. So,
like Reggie and Dwayne, and those they're anomalies. But the rest of the players walked around, and like you talked, and you like you weren't bigger than the university. And then because this is why, and this is the greatest thing about USC, that person that's a regular student could be the next business owner. Right? And you're in the same class, chasing the same degree, but you're going to be a football player, trying to be a pro football player, but they go chase their career, and all of a sudden they open up the business. And then you call them, hey, man, it didn't work out. Don't worry. I got a job for you. You know what I mean? Like, because you're great
there's
to me.
Something special. You touched on it. I know people see my passion, the emotional connection that I had to that community with my friends that are, when I see, Frosty Rucker, when I saw Reggie and Matt here, it was like we never missed a beat. I don't believe, and I've seen the interaction at UCLA firsthand, like Chip Kelly be looking like with a handshake. And I'd be like, we'd be like, what's up, bro? Oh my gosh. So that level of, and I grew up to that. And Ryan, I'd like to touch on, like, you've been to practice. You've seen these interactions. Lane Kiffin, I used to work out with him in the training room. Pete Carroll used to come in there and we used to make shakes. And there was this connection that we had that, like, win, lose, or draw, I'm riding with you. And maybe you can give me some insight on what that looks like, the interaction between the coaches and the community at SC. What do you see when you're there?
We can't see any with like the other sports just because it's such a limited time. I mean, we're on the field for literally 15 minutes. So among the athletes like that, like for instance, last week or 2 weeks, Tuli Tuipulotu came back, Charger now. He was obviously the great, and he was everyone, coming up, but you would expect that. I mean, he's a former player with them last year with the same coaching staff. So, I mean, obviously that looked great, but I literally we're inside Howard Jones Field for 15 minutes, just like I'm seeing them interact with the track or in John McKay while everyone's working out or anything like that. So unfortunately I can't really speak on it. The only thing I will say, and I have no idea what it's like this year, but I just remember you bring up Frosty Rucker. I remember when Lincoln was first hired, Frost said he did a really good job right when he was hired of reconnecting former alumni players that felt abandoned during the Clay Helton era. And he did a really good job. Now, has that progressed and continued? I have no idea. It feels off now, but I know when he first came, Frost did say that. It was like, hey, I never went to games with Clay Helton. Frost is at every single game. I saw him at Notre Dame. He's at every game. He obviously
San Jose State.
San Jose State. So there is some level of doing something there, but it does seem much more behind the scenes than obviously what you or anyone else would want to see as an alumni. But it is better, I would say. Well, and again, now it's hard to say now what the seasons look like, but at least when he was first hired, there was definitely a culture shift in the right direction. Now, to your point, has it stalled and has it gotten any better? Hard to say. Or I would say probably not.
Candace, the one thing I'd like to add, because it's such a unique insight, because I went to USC for undergrad, but it was a very different experience. I wasn't an athlete. So it is a sort of a different world for an athlete. There's no question about that almost in terms of like a social hierarchy at the school for sure. what's interesting about what you said, and I have very close friends from an undergrad level, so I mean, I can relate to the relationships that you make at that age. There's two things that kind of stick out to me about what this means for Lincoln Riley moving forward and how to sort of create that. One is, with the transfer portal now, it's hard to do that in the same way. When you and Fred are talking about your experiences, you were there 4 years, you grew up together, you won together, you lost together, you were injured together, you had success together. You know, there's this sort of ebb and flow that comes with it. When you look at now just the state of the game in terms of college football, Jordan Addison was a USC Trojan for like 7 months. Travis Dye was a USC Trojan for like 7 months. You know, when you talk about Mason Cobb's going to be a USC Trojan for 7 months. And so when you are kind of coming in for just that 1 year, and it's not even one full year, it's a football season, right? And college basketball kind of goes through this a lot with these one and done guys. You know, they come in for the fall term, and then they don't even really finish the spring because they don't have to. They're getting ready for the NBA draft. Similar situation here. So I worry a little bit, and this is not a knock on Lincoln Riley in any way, shape, or form. This is just a challenge for him and all the other coaches that have come from universities with a lot of pedigree and history. How do you keep those bonds strong in this now new transfer portal culture era? And then when you factor nil on top of it, you know, you guys talking about sharing the same cafeteria food, having the same experience, going through all of this stuff together. But now Caleb Williams is making $3 million a year, and, you know, I'm getting $10,000 for nil, and the other guy's getting $5,000, $20,000, but this guy's got $3.5 million, you know. So even that experience, it's become shorter amount of time, but it's also becoming more and more different. And then the other point I'll make, which is I think another challenge, and this is why it's really important to have success as a football program periodically, because, and I mentioned this earlier, 18 years it's going to be since the Rose Bowl. And so, you know, I remember when I was at USC and Marcus Allen, you know, came to a practice or came to a game or was walking around campus, you knew he was great, right? It's like, oh, wow, that's Marcus Allen, Heisman Trophy winner, USC legend. But I didn't have any sort of personal connection with him because I wasn't even born when he won the Heisman at USC. And so when Matt Leinart now and Reggie Bush now and Landale White now walk on campus, Frosty Rucker, Keyshawn, you know, the Fave Five who kind of come to every game, the five diehards. Now when they walk on campus, everyone recognizes, hey, these are USC legends. This is USC royalty. I need to know who these folks are. But I don't have that same, they're not going to have that same connection that we did, because they weren't even born when the Bush push happened and the Fresno State game happened and Oklahoma happened and all of those things. So I think there's a very unique challenge for Lincoln Riley moving forward in terms of building those relationships, in terms of duration, in terms of consistent experience. But also when you go far enough along without a lot of success, it kind of becomes hard to bring alums back also when they themselves haven't had a lot of success on the field. It's really easy for Matt to come in his Letterman's jacket and talk to Brady Quinn and be like, I won the Heisman and you were great. And it's easy to kind of go back and live that world when you were great. Fred, you won 2 Rose Bowls. Candace, you're an Olympian. You're a national champion. You know, it's easy to sort of go back and reminisce when it was great. But when it's not so great, you know, there's a sort of, I don't know if the willingness to sort of go back is as high. So there's just a bunch of, I think, organizational and cultural factors that are different now that Lincoln Riley's going to have to navigate. And let's see how he does.
Do you guys feel that you're hearing what you need to hear from? I mean, we're discussing what we think and what the direction is. Ryan, you see him often at practice. Do you guys feel like you're hearing what you need to hear from them and from that staff to make these changes? That there is some momentum shift?
No.
I mean, not fully, especially with what we've seen on the field. I don't think it's. I mean, anyways, I'm more, I think, positive. I don't think it's as bleak as some people make it seem, but it's definitely not where it should be and where the high was when the hire happened. Yeah, I don't know.
And just to sort of add to that, I don't think it's necessarily what he's going to say, because I think it's hard to sort of get very detailed with the media. I want to kind of come to Lincoln Riley's aid a little bit here. We've been hitting him kind of hard. Just to sort of balance it out. I think it's hard. I think it's hard to come to have a certain level of detail with the media. You're not going to kind of share trade secrets. You're not going to kind of go too deep. It's a lot of coach talk. I think, Ryan, you can speak to this. I mean, you're the insider. You're there week over week. I don't know if there's these pearls of nuggets that we're getting week over week by being there, because it's just the kind of the nature of the beast. Where I am disappointed is when he's not even stepping up to the podium, right? It's easy to step up to the podium when you win. And then when you don't win, you don't step up to the podium. Your players don't step up to the podium. You don't do your radio show this week. You're complaining that you had the sniffles and you don't feel well. And,
Wait,
that
what?
to me, well,
Wait, what?
He didn't do his radio show this week.
Because
this
why?
week, he said he wasn't feeling well. He was under the weather. And so, that's the concern here is when everything
heavily concerned because USC got multiple hospitals, good insurance, and all types of anything you need.
Well, that's the bigger concern for me. It's not what he says. It's the willingness to say something when times are good as well as when times are not good. Because there's a lot to be said. And then I think it goes back to what Ryan said earlier to bring it full circle about the Tebow piece, right? I mean, it wasn't just that Tebow was so fired up. I mean, it was right off of that loss to Ole Miss. I mean, he got stuffed on that fourth down. They lost 31-30, and he just came up and just came from the heart. And we'd like to see that from Lincoln Riley, from Caleb Williams. We're talking about who the leaders of the team are. It starts with the two guys that are the highest paid. In any organization, those are usually who the leaders are. So, it would be nice to see who those two guys step up and be accountable, even when you're winning, but also when you're losing. And I think where the media is starting to turn a little bit is, hey, you're so ready to talk and be, sort of jovial when you're winning. And then when you lose, you don't even want to show up and talk. And I think there's a double standard there.
Go ahead, Ryan.
One thing, and then Coach, we can wrap this up. I saw an interesting point today. And I think what made, and this is, I guess against Lincoln, but I think it's just in the college coach in general. What made Pete so great and so good, I think, was his experience that he had in the NFL before coming back to SC. Because when you're in the NFL, he was in New York, he was in these media meccas. In the NFL, media is always there. They're at every practice, every training camp. It's a huge room, and so you're just exposed to everything. And so when he came to SC, he was like, "Bring it on! Everyone come in. We got celebrities, we got media," because he had been exposed to that. And all these small town college coaches, Lincoln Riley being one of them, but we've seen it from Dabo, we've seen it from some of these other guys. They still have that small town coach mentality. And so, yes, that's Lincoln needs to learn from that being here in LA, but it's not that he's the only one doing it. It's like the reason why even Nick Saban's gotten better. Because remember, Nick Saban, they went to the NFL for a little bit and he took some of those learnings and came back and said, okay, I need to adapt in how I do things. Pete was in the NFL and coached under Belichick and all these different guys and learned different things. So it's going to take that almost wake up call to be like, okay, I can't be this small town coach. I'm in LA. There's a lot going on. It's hard to sell seats, even if you are good. I mean, this was a 6-1 team, and there were still only 61,000 at this rivalry game against Utah. So it's just have to get that mentality. And I'm not just piling that on Lincoln totally. That's just college football coaches. It's hard to coach in LA unless you have either a background or come into it open-minded to say, okay, I need to change what I've done because it's not going to run like it ran in Norman.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. And last piece, Fred, I don't want to hog the mic here. The one thing I gotta go back to Candace though. Candace took a shot at Drake Stadium, so I got to come back here for UCLA in that. The other thing that Pete had going for him, Ryan, in terms of his learnings coming back, hey, he modeled the program off of John Wooden's Pyramid of Success, and that's known. It was the Wooden philosophy that kind of set the stage there, as well as his learning. So, Candace, yes, it's Drake Stadium has its faults, but UCLA philosophy had a lot to do with Pete Carroll's program as well.
He did. I want to end it on. I want to end it on this. And it's just a personal story. I had my yearly. It was in May, but I had my yearly evaluation, and there's you're a great person. You're full of energy. You push forward. You work hard and everything like that. But you're in the meetings. Your body language just sucks. And I was like, I just hate meetings. I don't like being in meetings. I just want to get through them. And there was but your body language sucks. You give a bunch of good information and you're always on like you're right on it, but your body language sucks. Like you don't want to be there. I was like, I don't. And they were like, you have to learn how to play the game. And I was like, huh? They was like, play the game. Act like you want to be there and want to be in those meetings. With that being said, like Lincoln Riley body language starts to suck when shit gets hit, when shit hits the fan. And people see that, and it's very apparent. And coaches see that across the sideline. If I'm coaching against Lincoln Riley and I got his ass in the corner, I'm like, oh, yeah, I got him where I need to be. So that's one of the things he needs to change, like, because then you start to see the players' body language start to drift too. So I think that's one thing that he needs to work on as a professional to become better. But let's wrap this up. We went long today. Our queen had a lot to get off her mind. We wish she was with us yesterday so we can get that off your mind. We thank you guys for staying with us. We thank all you Trojans fans. We appreciate you. I want to thank you guys yesterday for all the views. 6,000 views. That's one of our biggest watches we have ever had, if I'm not mistaken, right, Ryan? The biggest one. I hope all you guys subscribe. We want to thank all the new Sooner fans. We appreciate you guys too. And one thing I want to know is
this is for the Sooner fans right here. Right there. There we go.
For the Sooner fans, you guys get that. Hey, so one thing I do want to know if a Sooner fan watches this, what is Tebow? Because you guys said Tebow a lot. I'm like, what is Tebow? Like, I had no idea what that is. Do any of you guys know what Tebow is?
I don't know. Was it Tebow misspelled or what?
No, they said it a lot. If you go back and look, they said Tebow. So I don't know what it is. Anyway, we lost Ryan. That's how you know we've been going too long. Anyway, hey, Underdog Fantasy app, go download it. Underdog Fantasy, put in USC LAFB, and we'll match up to $100. Athletic Greens, Canada's favorite sponsor. Go to drinkag1.com/Salute You get vitamin D for a year and 5 free travel packs. Once again, we thank you guys. We appreciate all your views yesterday, 6,000 views. We appreciate it. We're really happy for it. We want you guys to tell 2 friends so we can keep this thing growing and we can stay here for you guys. Guys, we're moving on. We're going to Cal. The last weekender for us on the road. I want you guys to think about that. This is our last road weekender going to Berkeley this weekend. So we'll see you guys we'll see you guys Thursday, but you guys Friday will be ready to go and have a pregame for Cal. I'm scared of Justin Wilcox. I respect the fuck out of Justin Wilcox. I just want to let you guys know that. But we're going to Cal. We got a lot to recover on. We'll be ready to go. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging in there. Ryan's back. Ryan, thank you for hanging in there. Your AirPods died, your computer died, everything died. It was a great one tonight. I appreciate it. So we'll see you guys. You know how it goes. Live free, fight on.